I'm not quite sure where or what they organize or call themselves as. They put on this morning in this, while I have this going on this year with nothing in this, by the way, came blank as usual. Couple of holidays, but like, not really. Because it doesn't come with an explanation of what they mean. So now I'm watching this, trying to filter through whatever's being thrown at me. And they come out with this, they have this game called Halo, Halo. Now, I know in like old Philosopher's Stone, in a space between here and there, like when the world stands still type of a thing, because it does happen and some of us exist, not all of us. Without taking on prejudice and pride and contests and challenges. There just is. There just is what's been done, what's been doing, and what's causing harm to certain persons. I'd be one of them. Then there's this. Now, there's so few that make it to that level of when time stands still and you still exist, that when time turns over again, for everybody else, almost like having universal remote. I've seen it referenced on movies where you pause and the people stand still, but like the mutants and X-Men still move through. In that shallow gene pool allowed to whatever exists somehow in that format. When time unpauses and there's convalescence, where the two paradoxes or parallel dimensions are existing in some ebb and flow, and things in the other portion of partitioned pieces need to whatever. Sometimes storytelling or story format is introduced. It's been used throughout the classics, none of which I've been afforded education of, during what I call my day label, which is the one that's been biologically harmed and tethered or moved into this type of prism. I call it a prism because it's some kind of prism trap that I'm consciously aware of in some reality, but that's not an like there's interactive features here, being Linda Lou, and now it's my son, my last one. Tiafrio and I don't interact. He's not an interactive feature. He's a nuisance placed in my direct path, causing problems elsewhere. Was already told, I think, on the July 2015 set of circumstances between the 11th and the 15th. I think that's a 111-5 at 5:05 IET, but who's counting? So now I see this Halo thing come on the television. And it does feel familiar for me because it's almost like wearing this body armor. I mean, my skeleton is not this size. My muscle mass and muscle structure is not this size. It's just not. This was add-on, like, additives in this prison or prism that have been biologically enhanced or suited, but not in a conformity way of biomedical ethics by any stretch of the imagination. This is the exact opposite of biomedical ethics, what's going on in here. So they have this halo feature. The problem is that the man mentions it's got some form of corporate agreement between the Gates, Bill Gates, and his Microsoft relationship, which is the only name I've ever heard associated with the company. And then the story is Halo, which is part of a franchise, but they allowed Microsoft machines, or the company's brand Microsoft, to use this or sell this product called an Xbox. My children had it. I didn't know it was a Microsoft brand product. And so it was just an Xbox. And then I see how Melinda Gates has totally used the gift and opportunity of money, power, and prestige to give away and cause dangerous new problems in the us of the United States of America, specifically in North America, although she has connections, it looks like, to other nation states. So that's a problem. But the storyline of putting on this armor and going to investigate one's own area and being pretty much the scene that they show is being in a, like an alien habitat and having to describe your alien habitat to some unit that you return to. And that actually is a fact. That actually does happen. So here we are. In some form of this also looks very similar to me of James Cameron and Avatar. That also is a good example of what I know to be so and what humans fantasize about or have been introduced to in a kind of sort of but not really way.
Sugar Pie, Honey Bunch. Welcome back to CBS Mornings. We love that song around here. It is time to bring you some of the stories that are the talk of the table this morning. Tony, what do you got?
Well, I've been thinking a lot about how the Federal Reserve is trying to cool down the economy, raise interest rates.
Have you been thinking about that a lot?
Really? Shit's going on. We talk about it every day.
You've been thinking about that a lot.
It's shooting up, and I got a solution for people.
All right.
March Madness.
Hey, let's see how your mind works here.
According to a highly scientific study from one poll survey, a third of Americans plan to call out sick or otherwise skip work in order to watch games, basketball games. That is a serious loss to the output of the American economy. I think it'll calm things down a little bit. Prices will drop.
Okay, all right.
That's interesting, because I've never called out sick at work level like they're talking about to play games. But what I will say is the us part of humanity that totally ignores me is trying to write over my real existence. Here's the schedule that they put me on. I mean, this is Boys Town. This has some kind of military, like, asking for donations. They're, I don't know, something local. God only knows what any of these people do. And so they give me a planner and a schedule with nothing on it. Been doing it my whole life. Not that they've actually sent me a physical reminder, but they just don't exist, humanity. They do in, like, some folklore. Like, I hear somewhere, I read some Aesop's fables at one point, and, like, there was good in humanity. And I've read some nursery rhymes like Old MacDonald and like they really are good people under the surface. Yeah, they're not in my interactive feature during the day. I wouldn't know. I only like have heard about them in some alien story, like folklore, that they were good at some point.
Yes.
That's it. That's the whole talk of the day.
That's pretty good.
Well, especially since you've been thinking about it a lot, that's going to be very helpful for
I'm an economist in my spare time.
Yeah,
Right.
I get it. My talk of the table is a no-go for Pete Davidson.
Oh, no way.
Yep.
Really?
The comedian, as you probably heard, was scheduled to black.
Yeah, there is a saying, oh, for Pete's sake, in Ireland. I think that's where it was from. I don't ever remember it having to do with him, though. And this is the Kennedy Center Honors. And it says, for Pete's sake. Piety?
Blast off into space on a Blue Origin rocket next week. The launch date has now been pushed back to March 29th, and the space company says that Davidson is no longer able to join the crew. You know, he's very busy. No reason was given why he can't make the flight, but they do say they will announce a replacement in the coming days. And, you know, I was thinking, Tony, Vlad, you know, Jeff Bezos, I'm sure, is looking for volunteers. He consults me on no business decisions, but I do have a volunteer for him.
Me?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I do.
Did you tell Jeff Bezos I want to go to space?
No, I didn't, but here.
Here's the thing. He's not the size of a Vlad. He's not the genetic look, and he's not the size of a Vlad. Vlad stands over 6 foot at size of a Vlad. It's a aerodynamic, it's a runic symbol system for A and then D. It actually has aeronomics like written into the symbols. I know that this guy uses it as his name, but that's not what size of a Vlad looks like, and he's definitely not Astro Vlad.
Joe Vlad.
Oh, there we go.
There's them trying to steal identity again.
That is my contribution to the
Astro
let's get
Vlad.
Vlad into space.
She just seems to be the real key-op frontrunner for identity theft and redistribution without any approval from the US foundations and origins.
Because you, Tony, I don't
I'm good
think
for it.
you want to go,
I do want to go, yeah.
but Katie wouldn't want you to go, so no.
Who cares?
Which has grossed more than $6 billion.
Busy to Heights or
I'm
something.
really kind of busy right now.
I get it.
He doesn't want to leave Staten Island. It's a beautiful place.
We'll send that on over to Jeff.
Yeah, give him a shout, Gail. Let him know I'm down. I'm down.
People that live in Staten Island do think it's
I know. I visited him at his
Okay,
place there.
I know you
At Peace
did.
for Sunday Morning. It is truly actually a beautiful place, and there's great bass fishing off the southern end of it.
yes.
All right, so my talk of the table, guys, is about a new direction for the blockbuster game franchise Halo, which has grossed more than $6 billion in total sales since its debut in 2001. Now, the classic video game is coming to your TV screen. You excited? Actor Pablo Schreiber is known for playing characters like Mad Sweeney in American Gods and for his Emmy-nominated role as prison guard George Pornstache Mendez.
I've never heard of either of these two shows. I've never seen them, never heard of them.
In Orange is the New Black, I get to say Pornstache on TV. He's starring in the new Paramount Plus series Halo as Master Chief 117, a genetically engineered soldier, also known as a Spartan. It is set in the 26th century when humanity faces possible extinction by aliens known as the Covenant. In this clip, Master Chief and his team are near the landing site of the alien ship.
Master.
Now investigating the interior of a nearby cave. Assessment report. Covenant excavation.
Cave network does not appear to be a natural formation.
Oh, that's like me walking around Lynn's house with the electricity in the wall and all the thermodynamics that don't work properly, along with the electricity that's malfunctioning. Here's an alien hybrid version of it, but we do exist.
Observing debris consistent with plasma cutters. Covenant forces appear to be excavating for some kind of object. Unclear as to its nature.
And Pablo Schreiber joins us now. Good morning. Good to see you.
Nice to see you guys. How you doing?
Doing
Really
well.
good.
So let me ask you, for those who are not
Unclear on its nature. Is that like the alien version of classified? Just curious.
familiar
But
with
Vlad is very familiar.
because I bought, Microsoft, their plan was we're going to make Halo available only on the Xbox.
Yeah.
I was a PlayStation player for my whole life, and I bought an Xbox just to play Halo. So I've been playing it since
Nice.
2001.
Yes.
But for people who are not familiar
But
with
we
Halo
need both. We
and
need
Master
both.
Chief. Yes.
Yes.
Who is Master Chief, and what does he stand for?
Yeah, he's a symbol, He's a symbol for all of us. For everyone who's ever played Halo, he's a symbol for bravery, for courage, for...
I myself don't play Xbox. I don't play PlayStation. That is something reserved for Cosmic Nursery. But I have heard or seen, I've walked in the room where there was a demonstration with this Halo game going on. I did inquire about it from the person who was demonstrating it. It was interesting, but it wasn't like a whole in-depth look or analysis on the program.
for extraordinary actions under very difficult circumstances. And he's a stand-in for the player. You play the game and you play as Master Chief. Obviously now we're bringing him to a television series, a long-form television series. We want to make multiple seasons of this show. And so for that purpose, we have to get underneath the armor. We have to get to know the man. So a lot of the themes of this show are, breaking the Master Chief down,
Yeah.
and exploring the tension and the conversation between Master Chief the soldier and John the man.
But what's exciting, Pablo, is that we get to see your face. Because a lot of times, listen, I watched the first 2 episodes. We didn't
Listen how weird and creepy she is about this. Why does she get so much power inside of society that she could even function at this level inside of this system? I'm just curious how broadcasting got somehow infected and rerouted, and no one with a military personnel level importance could come in and crush the simple fact of you're not us, you're in the wrong territory, and you're unauthorized.
even see your face until 50 minutes in. I'm not complaining. But I was really glad. I was really glad when the helmet
And
came
the
off.
gamers never saw it.
You never see it in the game.
The
You never
gamers
see his
never
face.
saw it.
Never see it in the game, and so that's a big moment in the Halo franchise and the history of Halo is to take the helmet off. But yeah, it did feel like in order to tell a very human story, about a soldier who's exploring his own identity, about the effects of war on the society and the effects of war on the individual. In order to tell a story like that over a long form, you really had to get underneath the helmet.
It's a great humanizing moment when you take the helmet off, and it also underscores how this is a great story. It's not just visually exciting. It's not just based on a video game people love. It's a truly great story.
Oh man, let me tell you, I didn't know too much about the Halo franchise coming into it.
Did you play the game?
I played it, in high school at friends' houses. I didn't grow up with TV or...
Let me say something. This over here, this pose, I mean, it is so sexy when you got on all that plastic armor and you're pretending to be a bioengineered superhero. When you're 43 and you're on the floor and you make that pose, it doesn't feel as good as what they project it to look like in superhero territory. your body's not supposed to function that way. You're supposed to have a little more spry in your step. Why is the body malfunctioning? And why is the motility unit of the biogenic and the body machina working in some altered fashion with all this adipose tissue added, like insult to injury?
Or video games. I grew
No
up
TV in your house?
No TV in my house.
Are you okay, Pablo?
I'm all right. Don't worry about me.
Yeah, I had a TV, it just didn't go on, and it was push button. There was only so many buttons on it, and it was on the set.
Yeah, I grew up.
And there was not continuous programming when I grew up either.
Up in rural British Columbia, and so I didn't have access to the technology. But through high school, I started to play. But I never played it as a story game. I always played it as a versus shooter. So for me, the process of this has been learning about how much mythology and how much story has been spooled out over the course of 20 years of this franchise over multiple mediums.
Yeah, we were talking about that, Tony and I, earlier, and I said, video games are cinematic now.
Yeah.
And the characters are as deep as any character you'll see in film or television. So what kind of responsibility do you feel to the fans who are going to expect certain things?
Because you all at high society running shit into the fucking ground, trapping the rest of us, the ones that the cinematic characters are paralleled and paradoxed over, and you don't seem to give a flying fuck about letting us out, 'cause you're like, no, she makes a really good victim, leave her there. Why can't those people be eradicated off the planet permanently and, just no attention be paid to them? I'm just curious.
Things from Master Chief.
Huge responsibility. I mean, the character is iconic. The character, as I was saying, is a symbol for us, So, and for so many people, there's a co-ownership they feel over the Master Chief because you play as him.
Right.
So I'm aware of that.
So now there's a possessiveness, right? Okay, so here's the thing at chattel and personal property. There is very someone I really belong to when the earth stands still and I go back to my natural state, which is not this additive, the humans in this broken, whatever the hell this used to stand for, bioengineering and subjectivity. Anything else is completely irrelevant. There's one voice. Same one I go to each and every time that the world stands still.
Aware of that and really have taken.
And the last time I saw him, he grabbed my hand and he said he was with his cohorts or his consort, and he said that he doesn't smile that much. They were shocked to see just how happy I made him. That he was smiling the entire time we were together doing whatever we did, and I can't really remember it. Because normally he doesn't smile ever. They were shocked, they didn't want to say anything, and I was like, really? I mean, I was just happy finally to be found, and to the thought of never having to come back to this reality was like, why does the earth ever have to spin again? Why can't you just eradicate it completely from the system and just fix the galaxy that way?
I have taken that on and really want to do the fans proud, obviously, in the best way that I can. But even more than that, I want to bring in a new audience who has never interacted with the franchise before and show everyone who doesn't know anything about Halo why we love this universe so much.
You were certainly going to do that, and it's interesting. Your last name is well known because you and Leave are related. Growing up, did you both want to be actors? Is it?
That last name, Schreiber, is not a well-known name. That's, again, them painting, priority where maybe in certain circles, but at Couch Potato, I don't know that name.
Is it something you talked about as kids?
No, we didn't grow up together. He grew up on the East Coast.
And here's how this works. The name doesn't ring a bell, but it doesn't bring a photo up. There's no association or articulation in the life programming in this prism.
East Coast. I grew up on the West Coast. We have the same father, but our father was an acting teacher.
Now, visually, I know he's Ray Donovan. That's his character. His personal name, I have no idea.
Teacher, so there's a common bond there. But no, he's a
So it's not like
fantastic.
you guys said, "Let's be actors."
Nope.
just ended up
There was no grand plan. We
Yeah.
we just landed here.
So I mastered the dumb question, so I have one.
Yeah.
About Halo.
Oh, please, I love it. I love.
Yeah, he just landed here. And what I say when I go back to consort and cohort and like holding the hand of the man that doesn't usually smile but couldn't, like, was smiling the entire time, it's just, I'm not from around here. I mean, I should be. I want to stay. But when I wake up, I'm not from around here. I'm from there. And I don't know how to get out. Just so the great beyond has some kind of depth perspective on how to tell the story and orient the direction. I know in German it's very big to orient the story.
I love dumb questions.
What is it? It's orient, center, direct.
Dumb question.
We got the picture of the gear that you're wearing. How heavy is that gear, and what was it like getting into it every day and trying to act?
That's not a dumb question.
I know it's not a dumb question.
not.
That's awesome.
It's not like
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
Like,
It was about 55 pounds, and it's not the weight, it's really like the fact that it makes you quite immobile. And these suits they're supposed to be future tech, they're supposed to turn these guys into absolute super soldiers who are incredibly capable of, the most amazing feats. But really, they just stack about 55 pounds of plastic onto you and send you out to shoot, So it's.
But he does acknowledge it alters your movement and your ability, your motal ability. You all of a sudden can't move the way you're supposed to move. You can't, whatever. You have to figure out a way to get down and get back up without breaking something or tearing something. It's horrible.
It's a challenge, certainly, to figure out how to manipulate it in the best way to make it come alive and make it look authentic and feel real. But it's one that we were up for, and obviously the honor of getting to wear it and to be on set there every day is just amazing and huge. And
That's great for him. This is not an honor for me. This is a complete, disingenuous, disgusting, I don't know what humans in biomedical ethics that have completely been breached and tossed aside. I have no idea how they're able to stay alive. I don't know why people don't actively pursue them, hunt them down, and kill them. Really, I don't.
And I loved being in it.
Here's a dumb question.
You make that costume look really good, and when you take off the helmet, it goes to another level. Because I'm thinking right now we don't see much emotion from John. But I'm thinking we're going to see humanity as it goes along.
we get
True?
flashbacks, yeah.
Well, that's the process of the first season, right? He has an interaction with an artifact that brings back some memories from his childhood.
Yeah.
And the process of the first season is really John discovering his humanity for the first time.
Yeah.
So this introductory season is really getting the audience comfortable with the character so that we can expand and go even deeper and richer into places that will feel...
People are going to like
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Dude, Pablo Schreiber, thank you very much. Halo premieres March 24th on our streaming service Paramount Plus. Right now, time for a check of your local weather.
When you have an interactive feature and it's been withheld from you, it does pose all sorts of problems that one shouldn't have to get into. And biomedical ethics have so horrifically been abused that you can actually physically see your interactive feature and all of the damage that has been done. Why is there no process on that on retrieving your interactive feature? Star 1978, Star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza, its Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken, and its Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.